Today, we're going to take a close look at something that affects all of us, the safety of children on our streets. We're going to unpack the latest findings from Japan's white paper on traffic safety to really understand the risks our youngest pedestrians face and, just as importantly, the incredible work being done to keep them safe.
So, before we get into the specifics about children, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. And honestly, the big picture is a huge success story. Just look at this chart. It shows an absolutely remarkable journey. Back in 1970, Japan hit this tragic peak with over 16,000 traffic deaths in a single year. But since then, that number has been cut by more than sixfold. It's just incredible, and it shows what decades of hard work in engineering and education can really do.
But, and this is a really big but, that amazing national success doesn't tell the whole story. Because when you look behind those big numbers, you find a problem that's still very real, especially for the most vulnerable people in our society. And that gets us right to the heart of the matter. You know, horrible events like the 2021 crash in Yachimata, where a truck hit a group of students, they're these painful, gut-wrenching reminders that the simple act of walking to and from school can still be incredibly dangerous. Incidents like that one have served as a major wake-up call, renewing a national focus on making those school routes as safe as they can possibly be. Now, this is where it gets really interesting when you dig into the data. The good news is that all those safety improvements have absolutely worked for children. Actually, they've worked even better than for the general population. A 42% drop in casualties is fantastic. But here's the key difference. For adults, the risks are kind of spread out between being in a car, on a bike, or walking. For elementary school kids, nope. It's almost all about one thing: being a pedestrian. For them, just walking is, by far, the biggest danger they face. Okay, so if we know walking is the main risk, the next questions are pretty obvious, right? When and where are these accidents happening? And who, specifically, is in the most danger? Let's break it down. And this chart, wow, this tells you so much at a glance. The danger isn't spread evenly across all the elementary grades. It's the little ones, the first and second graders, who are newest to walking to school and navigating streets by themselves. They account for a huge number of these accidents. You can see how the numbers drop off as kids get older, a little wiser, and more aware of the roads. So when is the most dangerous time of day? Right here. That giant spike you see between 2 and 5 in the afternoon is no accident. You can practically hear the school bell ringing. It's that time when thousands of kids are bursting out of school, full of energy, excited to get home or go play, and maybe, just maybe, their attention isn't 100% on the traffic. And what are they doing when they get hurt? This chart makes it crystal clear. The biggest piece of the pie, over 38%, is just that daily journey, walking to and from school. That simple, everyday routine is the single most hazardous thing they do as pedestrians. All right, so we've got the when and the where pretty well mapped out. But now we have to ask the most important question of all. Why? Why are these accidents happening in the first place? Because if you don't understand the cause, you can't find the right solution. Okay, this right here is a crucial piece of the puzzle. This slide shows a complete flip between what happens with kids versus what happens with adults. Look, for the general population, almost 65% of the pedestrians who get hurt did nothing wrong. They committed no violation. But for elementary school students, the story is the exact opposite. Nearly 60% of the time, the accident involves a violation by the child. So what exactly is that violation? Well, here's the number one cause, and it's a big one. A third of all these incidents come down to one single action, tobidashi, or tobidashi, dashing out into the street. It's that impulsive, split-second moment, chasing a ball, racing a friend, not looking, that puts a child in immediate danger. And what are they dashing out in front of? This chart leaves absolutely no room for doubt. In over 91% of these accidents involving a child on foot, the other party is a car. It's that deadly combination, the natural impulsivity of a child's mixed with the physics of a multi-ton vehicle. That's the problem we have to solve. Okay, so we have a really clear picture of the problem. Now let's talk about solutions. The good news is there's a two-pronged approach, and it starts with making real physical changes to the streets themselves. Let's look at the engineering side of things. And here is a perfect before and after of what that looks like. On the left, you've got a road with super narrow shoulders, forcing kids to walk right up against traffic. Not great. But then look at the after on the right. They've created a dedicated, clearly marked space that physically separates the kids from the cars.
This is literally engineering safety right into the environment.
Taking that idea to a bigger scale, we have the Zone 30 Plus initiative. Now, this is way more than just putting up a new speed limit sign. The plus is the secret sauce here. It means you combine that 30 km/h speed limit with physical changes to the road itself. Things like making the lanes narrower or adding speed bumps. Things that naturally make drivers slow down, whether they see the sign or not.
So you might be wondering, does all that actually work? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. The data is clear. In areas where they've put in these Zone 30 measures, the number of serious accidents has dropped by almost 29%. That's real-world proof that smarter road design saves lives. But building safer streets is only one piece of the puzzle. It's a huge piece, but you also have to work on the human element. We have to help foster safer behaviors, not just in kids, but in drivers and in the entire community. And that's where everybody comes together. We're talking about a whole web of support systems, having regular traffic safety lessons right in the schools, getting community volunteers out there to watch over crosswalks during commute times, and promoting simple things like personal safety gear. It's about building an entire culture of safety that surrounds these kids every day. And if you think these little things don't make a difference, just look at this. It's a simple reflective keychain. During the day, it's just a little accessory, but at dusk, when a car's headlights hit it, wow, it just lights up like a beacon, making that child visible from way farther away. It's a tiny item that can have a massive impact. So when you put it all together, you see that there isn't one single magic bullet. The path forward is about combining smart engineering, ongoing education, and real community action. It's a responsibility that everyone shares. And don't think this is just a small-scale project. The numbers here are just staggering. After that renewed focus on school routes, authorities identified over 76,000 locations across the country that needed safety improvements. And look at this table. The overall completion rate is already over 94%. That means tens of thousands of intersections are safer, thousands of sidewalks have been built, and countless other fixes are already in place. And this quote, right from the white paper, it just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just about traffic policy or pouring concrete. It's about a core belief, a mission driven by a value that everyone can agree on, that absolutely nothing is more important than protecting our kids. And that brings it all back home, to us. We've seen the national data, we've seen the incredible solutions being put in place. But now, I want you to think about the streets in your own neighborhood, the route to your local school or park, and ask yourself this one simple question. Are those roads really designed for the safety of a child who might, one day, impulsively dash out after a ball?